Welcome to Wine by the Case.
where we uncork legal insights one bottle at a time.
So, what do we got going on here today? I see French, and I
Yes.
love French wine.
French wine is fabulous. So is French champagne. Yeah, I tend to be partial to the French, but this is a Beaujolais-Village. So not quite the Nouveau, but Beaujolais is meant to be drank early. It's not meant to ferment too long. You're not supposed to age it. And Louis Jadot is a very respected brand for these young wines. So there's a reason I wanted something young and something that is, fresh and new, because we're talking about something that they didn't know about back when they made this
actually
wine.
like this.
Again, if you like a Beaujolais, you do.
It's light.
It is light, and that's what I do like about a Beaujolais is it's not quite as strong as a Zinfandel. I like a Zin, but it's usually not as fruity either.
No, it's very mild, and it would mix pretty much with anything. You definitely could have it with some fish. It's not
Yeah,
heavy.
it's
very
extremely light. It's
Yeah,
extremely light. A
it's
little too
very
light
light.
for me.
So, how is our wine? Because we all know that we coordinate.
Yes,
I like to
coordinate.
coordinate our
Theme.
wines
We
with
theme.
our themes. Yeah, we're theme girls. So why did, and as I've said many times, and I'm very grateful, Chris is the one that picks the wine.
I love doing it.
And so I am surprised. We actually do not have a pre-discussion about the wines ahead of time. I'm just as surprised as you are
That's
about
the
the
one I
wine.
picked.
So I am always surprised why she picked the particular wine to go with our discussion of
Mhm.
the week. And so why is it, Chris?
So I wanted, again, new. I wanted fresh because we're talking about something that back when this Beaujolais was necessarily bottled in 2023, this didn't exist.
Before we skip, how much was this bottle?
These are ranging anywhere from $17.99 to $23.99. They're
Okay.
not expensive, but they're just a good, solid French wine. And especially from this particular maker, Louis Jadot, you're consistently going to get a decent wine.
Okay.
that-
You wanted something young and
I
fresh. in there.
did, because we're going to talk about Google Glass today.
That's pretty young and hip.
Very, because they still don't have any rules regarding it. So there's been some crazy internet stuff lately. Because to become more accessible, you're not just dealing with the Silicon Valley execs having Google Glass.
No, do you have a pair? I haven't
Oh, God,
tried a
no.
pair yet. I
Mm-mm-mm.
think we need to try a pair.
I don't know, because to me, that's the whole. That's why I don't have an Alexa at my house. I don't want it. I don't want that level of, shall we say, monitoring.
No, I understand that. I just would like, I don't necessarily need a pair. I would like just to see how they work because we've had a couple of discussions about them.
A little bit. Yeah.
So, and we both have had clients call with issues
Mhm.
related to them.
Oh, yeah.
And I've actually never put on a pair. Although I would like to go to the nail salon with a pair on.
Oh, jeez.
No, but to listen to what they're really
To
saying.
translate
Like, they're
it.
like, oh my God, your feet are so stinky. Her feet are gross. Nasty, nasty.
Well, but speaking of that, that's exactly what we're talking about today. So there's two incidents they're making the rounds of social media about Google Glass. The first one is from late 2025, and I bring that one up because that's still pretty new. But this is involving New York and the subway. So somebody was on the New York subway with a pair of Google Glass on. You can tell. You've seen Google Glass. Everyone knows what they are. And apparently the woman on the subway said, I didn't give you consent to film me. And he said something like, oh, it's not on. Because now you can get this little thing that'll go over the camera light.
Well, it's also important to know that each state has different notice requirements for
So tell us about
recording.
dual consent versus you're out, that there's no dual consent law.
So Florida requires that the party that's recording and the party that's being recorded has knowledge
Knowledge and consent.
about the recording. New York is what they call a one-party consent state, and each jurisdiction varies
Mhm.
about this. And this has been around for years. It's
Right. This isn't new to
yeah.
Google Glass.
This
but
isn't new to this. But basically, she's on.
She's on the subway. And this young man, because he was probably in his mid-20s based on the pictures, and she was too, had his Google Glass on, and she's telling him, I don't want to be filmed. And he's basically saying, oh, no, I don't have the camera on, because I guess he had one of those little tiny things you can put over it. Well, she didn't like his answer. So she walks over, takes the glasses off his face, and breaks them in half.
Which she can't do that either.
And she hands it back to her. And then she gets off at the next stop.
That's fine too.
So, of course, he's like, well, this is her. Make her internet famous. And she's like, go ahead. Nobody wants to be filmed without their consent. I didn't say you could film.
And I do think that the laws are going to have to get
have
up
to catch
to
up.
speed
They have to
to
catch up.
where we are. Because before it became an issue, we had it with the phones.
Video
Phones have
surveillance.
cameras.
Video surveillance, you've got a smile on
Yeah.
camera. You're supposed to give people notice of that.
Right.
But here, he's even saying to the rest of the subway car, "You all see that? You all see that?" And apparently they all broke out in applause.
Problem isn't simply, and we brought this up before, isn't simply the actual videoing of it, that it is the fact that you're publicizing it everywhere. I
Yep.
think that the fact that she was videoed without her consent is
But she's
bad
telling
enough.
him, "Don't do it."
But then that it went up there. Now, in this instance, it went viral, but in many instances, and she didn't care. But in many instances, there's been backlash. Sounds like she got accolades for it.
Yeah, people like, they appreciate it because nobody wants. It's just icky. So speaking of icky, let's go to the really
Well,
recent.
those glasses are a problem.
They're
There are
problem.
problems for so many reasons. They're a problem, and they are going to have to be addressed.
Well, I also go back in time and go, thank God this stuff didn't exist when I was young and stupid.
Well, there's all those memes about that.
Mhm.
Because the bottom line is that it wasn't that as kids we didn't do stupid stuff.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it's
obviously
just not on
different
film.
levels of stupidity.
Right, but it's
I
still
mean,
not on film.
right. It was rarely on film because if somebody happened to have a camera, still we didn't have
One shot. They weren't looking over
there
the
was
video.
picture, and maybe
Right.
that picture was circulated or whatever.
Mhm.
But actually, I have a side story about that real quick. Years ago, I was like a freshman in high school. I went to the beach with my sister. We took pictures. I had the pictures developed at one of those hour places. And so I went to a party because we picked them up, and I'm like at the party. And this guy ends up taking the pictures, but we're at a party. So I'm like, oh, they got thrown away. I don't think anything of it. I briefly dated this guy. I'll be nice. We weren't into each other. Fast forward years later, because this is in high school. I'm like a freshman.
Mhm.
Years later, I'm now in law school. And my girlfriend goes, you're never going to guess. I went home to where we grew up and I ran into so-and-so. And she's like, I hooked up with so-and-so. I was like, and by the way, we had casually dated. So there was no like hooking up to that level. And she's like, oh, you're coming home to where you grew up. Do you want to go over and like hang out? And I was like, I don't care. I haven't seen him in like whatever 10, 12 years. So we go over there and he's moving and he hands me this picture.
In that old envelope you skipped from that airplane.
He had stolen the picture. No, he didn't steal all the pictures. It wasn't he did have it in those envelopes,
Okay.
but he'd only taken the ones of me because it was a whole roll of film, right? And there was some of my sister, there was some, so he'd only taken the ones of me out, apparently. He hands me these pictures and I'm like, okay, weird.
That's creepy.
Like, not so much you stole them in the first place, but weird that you now
kept them.
have them.
Exactly. You're flipping through my photos.
And then you hand them back. Yeah, weird. Side
weird.
story. But anyways, but the point, he had kept it in his private
Think about
collection,
keeping it.
but he had not publicized it, which is what would have been happened
Right
now.
But that's the key thing. I think, again, back in the day, we have Polaroids, we have evidence that probably, we can burn. But now with Google Glass, it's on the internet as you're standing there.
There's got to be new rules. Don't you agree?
There has to be new rules because the one is very, very recent. And it was about two people at a club, at a bar. And the guy had on his Google Glass. And she even asks him, so is that working? He's like, no, I don't have it on. So he's lying to her. But he's talking about her body and saying things like, ooh, I could eat you like a Snickers, and saying things like that. And she's just
horrible pickup line. I don't know how many times. Did that really work for him?
No, she didn't go home with him. But
no, but has it ever worked for him?
But she's sort of casually flirting with him, and then they both go their
The
separate
guy said,
ways.
"I'm going to eat you like a Snickers." First of all, I'm allergic to peanuts, so that would be a total turn off. But can you imagine somebody saying that to you?
No, I can't. But
like, what would you do? I would be like, really, dude?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Like this is the face we're making right now.
Right.
So I mean, okay,
couldn't
so
have done better than the drugstore candy. But he's live streaming this. And her friends are texting her when, because she's not paying attention to the phone because she's having a good time. She's out and about. And they're texting her, you're on the internet. You're on the internet. She goes, what do you mean I'm on the internet? And she finds out.
And confronts him, live streamed.
He was gone. She was gone. But she's like, I can find him because he's, there he is. It's all posted. But she was just so offended because she said, I was just out there, having fun in a club. I'm an adult. We're consenting adults. I didn't consent to being filmed. I didn't consent to going viral. And I didn't consent to being live streamed.
That's horrible. I really do think, I think that we could probably, they've
Talk
got
days about
I
this
mean,
issue.
we could talk for days, but also I think the laws have to get
They've got
updated to this. And then it gets even worse if you're using that, like, let's say you're an influencer and your site actually is making money from it. So we're getting into a whole other things. So I'm gonna actually give this a 7.
Wow, that's high for you. I'm giving it a 4. Again, it's not a bad wine. It's just not my palate.
Yeah.
But it is a very universal sort of use of, like you said, you could have with cheese, you could have with fish, you could have with steak.
Yeah, I think it's very light.
French fries.
Well, champagne goes best with French fries, but with caviar on them. But what would you like to tell our listeners that we would like them to do?
We would like you to like, follow, and subscribe.
You can post us. You can repost us.
Yep.
We're down with that.
But we'd also like your suggestions on any French wines that you think are particularly good.
If you would like to be a guest,
yes,
then comment below.
Talking about French wines, talking about Google Glass, talking about having gone viral, all the fun stuff out there. We'd love to have a different perspective.
Anything that has to do with a case, a legal topic, it doesn't have to be something that happened to you. It could be a question. Or you just want to come on.
Or you have a friend.
Yes, or a friend. Or you could come on and promote. Or if you're the woman that you have like and somebody in a bar because they're making stupid pickup lines. Love hearing crazy stupid pickup lines because I'm like, did they actually think that was going to work? And has that ever worked? Or if you're the guy that uses stupid pickup lines and they actually work, I so want to hear that from you. And we will come in so loving and caring. We just want to hear your side. I swear to you. We are very nice people.
We want to say